Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is gonna be a fun one because I decided what if I will film something like a moving abroad tag for you. I know that tag videos are kind of old right now and it's not so popular, but why not? And I have a little script here with some common questions to answer you about moving abroad and my experience, because as you may know, I recently moved abroad 3 months ago right now to another country, and I hope that will be interesting and maybe inspiring to you to know something new about me and my life and my experience. By the way, if you don't know me, I'm Irene and almost 30 years old, and I'm an immigrant from Russia, currently based in Turkey in Antalya, and let's go make this video fun. Also, I made a whole multiple link. You can see it in the description box and in the about section on my channel, and here you can see how it looks like. Here you can find all of my social media and also my projects like a Notion template for free and my free printable and in PDF version of a template which we created with my best friend. So feel free to go there and check my links, and also subscribe to my channel, press like button if you like it, and you can also support me with thanks on YouTube. That will be so great. That's a new opportunity on my channel, and I'm so thankful for being a part of this cool community. Also, you can subscribe to my Instagram. Here I post my daily life. I try to post some interesting stories and to share my everyday life experience. My Instagram is not as full as I want to because I am a lazy person. You can subscribe to any social media you can find interesting to you. So let's start right now with a tag video. So let's start with the first common question, and it will be, what inspired you to move abroad? To be honest, I always wanted to move abroad, and when I was a child, I even thought that I was born in the wrong country because I always wanted to live in an English-speaking country. English is my superpower, English is my soul, and I love speaking English, and I'm so happy to make videos in English and being a part of this community and to communicate with the whole world. Yeah, I always wanted to be a part of another country. I always wanted to be like the world citizen and not living in one city, in one country. When I was 16, I moved from my native town, from Saratov, I moved to Moscow, and that was like my transit city for 13 years. Oh my god. I knew that I have to find my person, my husband, who will think in that way as I think. And we both wanted to move abroad. What else I can say here? I always wanted to move abroad to an English-speaking country. And yeah, I know I'm living in Turkey right now, and that's kind of different. This is the not English-speaking country. Yes, that's the huge amount of tourists here, and many of Turkish people know something in English. Some of them can speak fluently, and that's so great. When I meet these kind of people, that's like a gift from the universe, but the language barrier is so huge, and that's kind of difficult to me. I always wanted to move abroad with my husband, or even if I will be alone, that doesn't matter. I think that the whole process started from the beginning in 2020, when the world was struggling from COVID, and me either and my husband either, and we started to plan our moving. We decided what country we want to move, and of course we always wanted to move to the US because this is the country of immigrants, this is the country of opportunity, and I always thought that I'm an English-minded, I'm super Americanized or super like English inspired person. Yeah, that was my goal, and that is still my goal for life because I want to become a citizen of another country legally. But I don't have this opportunity right now. Maybe in the future, maybe my work will help me, maybe my skills will help me, or maybe the luck of my life, because I'm playing the DV program in the US, and this is the 5th year when I made an attempt to win the opportunity to get a green card. Fingers crossed, someday it will happen with me in my life. And This year, and that time, at the end of the 2022, we all know what was happened in Russia from 2021. There was a huge war, and it's still a huge war. And in 2022, we decided to move abroad to the country which was like the easiest way to move into, and we decided to move to Turkey. This is like moving abroad, but not moving abroad, because living in Turkey is kind of different and it's a little bit harder than in Russia because of so many things. I will be talking about it in the second video. If you're interested in my difficulties in Turkey, I already filmed a video about pros and cons in Turkey and difficulties here, but not about everything. I want to film a video about difficulties in becoming a legal citizen. If you're interested in this topic, please let me know in the comment section below. I'll be happy to get your ideas and your questions. That's really inspiring to me. So yeah, what inspired me to move abroad? I think the political situation in Russia, that was not as much as inspiring, but that was like kicking me off this country with my husband and with our dog, and we were in this stressful situation, and our moving abroad was not so inspiring as I always dreamed of, but life is full of unfair advantages. I can't do anything with that. Okay, moving on to second question. How did you choose your destination? That's kind of interesting question, because we were thinking what country we must choose to move abroad, like the easiest way, and we chose between Montenegro, between Turkey, Costa Rica, and of course some countries like Serbia or Bulgaria. But the Turkey was literally the easiest way. The first thing is that Russians don't need to get visa to this country. The second part is that we can become citizens, like we can get the permanent residentship in this country as investors with buying an apartment. And this opportunity is not only in Turkey but in other countries either. But for instance, to get a permanent residentship in Montenegro, you have to buy an apartment for more than 250,000 of US dollars. In Spain, you can become a permanent resident buying an apartment for more than 350,000 US dollars, so maybe 400,000 US dollars. I can't even remember that information, but in Turkey the price was so low for us and affordable because we sold our apartment in Moscow, and we had to buy our apartment for more than $75,000, and that was really great because we bought an apartment for 115,000. That was really amazing. Not so cheap because prices grew up like hell in Turkey, but that's good. That's enough for us. That's the same price as for an apartment in Russia. That's why we chose Turkey, because of the prices, because of the easiest way to get permanent residency, because of the climate. Obviously, we didn't have winter this year because the lowest temperature was like 7 Celsius degrees, and that's it. And in Moscow it was like minus 25 Celsius degrees. That's good. The climate here is really cool, and of course living by the sea. We're living far away from the sea. Like it takes 1 hour to get to the seaside, but it takes 1 hour by bus, by local transportation. But if we will have a car, it will take us only 20 minutes, and that's amazing. In Moscow there is no sea, and that's the obvious reason, I think. So that was really inspiring to move into Turkey, and some other stuff too, but about it in the other video, I hope so. Write me in the comment section if you want to see the next one. So moving on to the third question of this video, what was the most challenging part of moving abroad? I will say that the most challenging part was the limited time we had, because the strange and dangerous situation with mobilization. Because of my husband, he could be mobilized, and that was really hard. I filmed a video about our moving process, and you will see the link somewhere here in the description box either. That was the most hard part of our moving, because it was so stressful. It was full of anxiety, and the moving process with all the documents, with selling our apartment, with packing our stuff, was all on my shoulders, and that was really, I think that the most difficult part of my life, literally the most difficult part of my life, like in 30 years almost. The other thing was difficult to do is to pack our whole life into 4 suitcases. The first time I planned to have 2 huge suitcases for both of us, one carry-on suitcase and one carry-on bag. That was really hard because I sold everything from our apartment. I packed a lot of stuff, and that was my first experience of moving abroad, and I didn't count my experience of moving from Saratov to Moscow, or in Moscow from the apartment to another apartment, because you know that's the different experience. That's a huge difference from moving abroad and moving inside one city or even in one country. I was so young at that time, and now I have my family, I have some stuff I'm carrying on. And you know what, I told you before in the previous video, if you watched it, and if you didn't watch it, the link will be in the description box. Even now, after 3 months living in Turkey with this stuff, I found things I have to declutter because I brought with me too much stuff from Russia. Yes, we packed our whole lives in 4 suitcases, but that's too much. That's really too much. So yeah, that was the most challenging part of moving abroad to Turkey. The 4th question will be, what advice would you give to someone who is considering moving abroad? That's a tricky question because our lives are different, and you have to prioritize what you want from your life, what it will look like in the future, if it will be like a perfect scenario of your life. I think, you know, that my advice would be to do your research, to understand what climate you want to live in, what country you want to move in, and do you want to move to an English-speaking country? If you're a native English speaker, will it be easier to move to an English-speaking country, or it will be okay to move abroad to the country with a different language and you will learn it? You also need to do not only huge research, but you also need to plan a lot, because moving abroad is hard. You need to plan so many stuff. You need to plan your finances. You need to plan your stuff in luggage. You need to plan your documents. You need to plan where you will be living in the future in this country. You need to plan your like experiences and that kind of stuff. And of course you need to be open-minded, because the world is amazing and you have so many opportunities to move abroad to different countries. You're the only one person who need to decide where to move in, and you're the only one, you, not anyone else. Only you will decide where you want to move abroad. And of course, moving into a new country is really challenging. You need to be prepared to have an anxiety, to have some fears. You need to be prepared that you maybe will have a sort of a depression, because things will change. Things will change a lot, and you can't see your friends, you can't see your family, and for maybe someone it will be hard, really hard. You need to take your time to know your new country and a new language, if there's some language in this country. For instance, I'm living in Turkey for 3 months now. I honestly tried to learn Turkish language, but I understand that Turkey is a permanent country and I will not be living here for so long, even if we were buying an apartment and we bought an apartment. I don't want to learn Turkish language because I don't like it. Sorry, but I don't like it. It's not easy to me to learn it. I don't like how it sounds. I don't like the grammar of this language. I don't see any logic in it, and that's my preferences and that's my point of view. What will be yours? Only you know. You need to go step by step in this planning to move in abroad, and that will be okay. That's challenging, but it's an interesting journey. The last question of this video will be, what do you miss most about your home country? That's really interesting and tricky question, because there are some points that I really miss about Russia, about Moscow especially, because we Russians always say that Moscow is not Russia, because Moscow is much more cooler and manufactured than other suburban areas in Russia, and Moscow is so different. Moscow and St. Petersburg, I believe. One thing I miss mostly is a service. I know that Turkey is a touristic country and there's a lot of service for tourists in like in 5-star hotels with an all-inclusive system and etc, etc. But at all in the whole country the service is so bad, and maybe I'm like an egoistic person from Russia, like, oh my god, in Moscow service was so good. Mwah. Yeah, in Russia service was definitely better than in Turkey. I miss fast deliveries like from your local grocery store, which takes at least 5 to 15 minutes. I miss car sharing system where you can rent a car. I miss the manicure and pedicure salons when you can find your nail lady. Russian manicure is a theme, and I think that there is a huge topic on the internet about Russian manicure at all, because Russian manicure is really cool. If you never done the Russian manicure, please find a nail lady and try it, because our nail ladies make it in a perfect way like no one another. And one more thing what I miss about Moscow and Russia is a transportation system, because in Moscow it's so perfect. We have so many different kinds of transport, of public transport, and so many different ways you can reach from one district of Moscow to another, and that was so amazing. And in Turkey it's so bad. We moved to Antalya because it's so quiet and small city, but a touristic city, and here Antalya have a transport system. For instance, if I want to go somewhere in Moscow, I will take a subway and it will take me 1 or 2 minutes maximum to wait the next train and to get the train and to reach this destination where I want to go. Here I need to plan all my trips and all my destinations and all my needs in the Google Maps app. And not only in this, they have the Antalya cards app for the local system in Antalya, where I can find my bus which I need to take to get the destination I need, and their schedule, but it doesn't work as it need to be. And I need to search for the bus on the map in the Antalya Cards app and to count how many bus stops and to count how many bus stops my bus is from me, and that's not so convenient. So public transportation and service, that's the global things which I miss about Russia. I don't know, maybe there's some more, but I can't even remember at that time. That's two that are crucial for me: public transportation and service. Oh no, there's one more: the internet. The speed limits of the internet in Turkey is so low, because in Russia that's normal to have 500 megabits per second, and there's only 100. That's crucial because I'm making videos, I upload videos on the internet, I download videos to my computer, and it takes time. In Russia it was like in one click. I know that in the US, for instance, that's the same problem, and maybe you don't have unlimited internet, but in Russia we are like unlimited everything. So I think that's it for the moving abroad tag, and I hope you enjoy hearing some of my experience, and maybe you find some interesting and some helpful tips from my personal experience of my moving abroad, and you find something interesting and helpful for yourself. If you have any questions, feel free to leave comments in the comment section below this video. Give me some ideas for the future videos. So thank you for watching, thank you for being a part of my community. Meet you in the next one. Bye!